77 degrees, a little overcast here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway, but we're ready to go. The NASCAR Sprint Cup Series 500-miler, our telecast tonight presented by Pennzoil. You can check out NASCAR.com for more coverage of tonight's AdvoCare 500 with 10 HD live race views, live chat, and live leaderboard. It's on the net at NASCAR.com/RaceBuddy. Our ESPN in-race reporter is a former winner at the Atlanta Motor Speedway who's got a lot of work for him tonight. He's starting back in 30th position, but he had his good luck charm warming up his race car before he climbed aboard.
That's great.
Keelan Harvick has become Kevin Sting here lately, getting his shot in the driver's seat before Dad climbs on board. Let's talk to Kevin.
We'll talk to his dad.
Hey, Kevin, Dale Jarrett, the ESPN. You with us?
Or Dale.
Hey, Kevin, first, congratulations on a dominating performance there last night. Saw you totally committed to the bottom of the racetrack last night. Now, for what you saw in practice with this new tire, what you've seen here in the past, are you going to be able just to work that bottom, or we see you move around here tonight?
I don't plan on moving around unless I have to. You know, it's worked really good for us in the years past. So we got to overcome a little bit of qualifying track position here with our Jimmy John's Chevy, but, feel really good about having a car that's capable of probably winning the race, so we just got to take care of it.
Kevin, our mailbag question comes from one of your fans in St. Petersburg, Florida, and Tom asked, with running so well last night and starting in a similar position, what can you take from last night's win to apply to tonight's race?
I actually think there's a lot you can take from last night to this night. Just got to get in a rhythm, and hopefully we can do that quick and make up some track position here.
Hey, Kevin, we show the fans what we consider kind of be wild racing on these restarts. What does that look like from the driver's perspective?
You know, the restarts are crazy here because, you have some guys that are really good on the restarts and guys that have their cars set up for long runs. The corners are from top to bottom able to race on, so you can make up a lot of ground if you hit it right, but if you time it wrong and get stuck on the top too long, you're going to lose a lot of track position.
All right, Kevin, thanks for talking with us. We'll be keeping an eye on you there tonight. Now, Andy's going to talk to your crew chief, Gil Martin.
Hey, Gil Martin, Andy Petrie in the booth. You got us?
Hey, Andy, I got you.
They didn't mean to wake you up there. Hey, is it harder or easier to call a race at a racetrack like Atlanta where the tire fall off and speed is so great?
Hey, both situations got its own set of circumstances. Both of them are equally as hard, I think, because as you well know, the races used to come out to where you come into the pits, you put a set of tires on, you had a second half advantage on everybody. We've been racing these gas mileage races so much that everybody...
Yeah, well, we appreciate you talking to us, Gil, and you're right. You've been doing that gas mileage thing for a while, so getting switched back over to this kind of racing is a little bit different. Good luck tonight.
Candy.
Gil Martin, Kevin Harvick, our ESPN in-race reporters. Let's check on some of the others' major stories in the field. Here's Dave.
Jeff Gordon's crew chief, Alan Gustafson, told me today, I can't afford to play chicken tonight. Now, that means taking the most risky strategies to try to get a win for his team, because the teams he'd be playing chicken against are the guys with nothing to lose. That means taking a fast race car, which they have, and taking a more standard path to victory lane, which Alan believes they can do. Jamie Little?
Well, when it comes to making the chase, Brad Keselowski finds himself in a critical position, 4 points outside of 10th without a win. Now, this team isn't overly optimistic about their chances tonight. Brad told me that his car in practice was doing everything wrong. Watch the two as they try to race their way into the chase. Vince Welch.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. is still seeking his first win of the season, but 7th in points and not yet secure in the chase. Crew chief Steve Letarte says, we won't be taking any chances or major gambles to get that first win tonight. Goal number 1, make the chase. And if we've got to play it a little safe to do it, that's what we'll do. Let's go to Mike Massaro.
Jimmy Johnson has been the championship leader since the beginning of April, 19 consecutive races. However, if he wants to be the number 1 seed entering the chase, he needs to win at least one of the next 2 races. Just how important is it to this team to get one of those victories? Well, their press release this week may have said it all. The headline simply read, nothing else matters. Alan?
Mike, thanks. One lap away from the start tonight in Atlanta. Our high-definition onboard cameras tonight going to give you some great views with some important teams in that championship story. Brad Keselowski's got the Ford EcoBoost camera.
Running and everything looks good. No, I meant are you personally, not the vehicle. I'm ready to go.
He's all buckled in and ready. Casey Kane's got our Sunoco on board tonight. Greg Biffle has the Coke on board camera. And Joey Logano has the Shell Pennzoil on board. Jeff Gordon's got the Goodyear on board camera. Kevin Harvick with our Jimmy Johns on board. And Jimmy Johnson with our Chevy on board.
It'll be a lot of fun. Remember, it's a long event, guys. 500 miles.
It is a long night in Atlanta. And our final onboard view tonight, Kurt Busch has our Sprint onboard camera. Our over-the-wall camera tonight being carried by Mark Hollywood Armstrong, changing front tires for David Rudiman in the 83. What are you looking for down on pit road tonight, Hollywood?
Well, guys, this is going to be a long race. It's hot, and we know that we got a lot of challenges out here with the issues with tires and also with no practice at nighttime. There's going to be a lot of adjustments on pit road and a lot of challenges on pit road tonight. You got guys trying to get into the chase and guys already in the chase, but that pressure could make or break a team tonight. Guys?
Hollywood, thanks. The Rockets' red glare, the pyrotechnics set off around some of the pre-race ceremonies on an overcast, humid night with the glow of the lights. That's the resulting scene. So a lap has been added by NASCAR because the spotters don't have a clear view from the top of the grandstand to help their driver be safe in this situation of a crash ahead of them and so on.
Yeah, you need everything your spotter can do for you here because you've got enough work as a driver just getting your car around here.
You can see you can't hardly pick one of the cars out through that smoke. So let that clear out. Looks like the wind's awful calm tonight, though. It might take a lap.
It's moving through, but I've kind of been watching this float over from the center of the infield toward this way. They might need another lap, maybe two, before that fully clears out. So, track conditions have changed since these cars were last on the racetrack at just before 7 Eastern time yesterday. They ran the 300-mile NASCAR Nationwide Series race last night. Then today, a couple of spotty showers. Not a downpour by any means, but a couple of spotty showers. What are the drivers expecting when they turn them loose here in a minute?
Yeah, I think what you're going to see is whenever they first unloaded and were the first cars on the racetrack the other day, the speeds were extremely high. Now we have cooler temperatures, and even what that was, the rubber was up. As this rubber gets down, it actually makes this racetrack slicker and more difficult to attain speed. So I would imagine they're going to be hauling with some loose race cars because of the high speeds.
Yeah, and that's one thing that they don't do a lot of is practice in groups, and that's what they're going to start out in, obviously, and that makes cars looser yet. So I think that's what you can expect, and a lot of teams kind of plan for that because they know the cars are going to be a little freer when the race starts.
We are coming to the start. Track measures 1.54 miles. To get the 500-mile distance, it takes 325 laps. And each and every one of those laps, these drivers will be fighting for control of these cars into these very fast corners. 25-year-old Ricky Stenhouse Jr., the two-time NASCAR Nationwide Series champ. Pole position for the first time in his NASCAR Sprint Cup Series career. Looking for his first top 10 finish, driving that 17. His Roush Fenway teammate Carl Edwards alongside as we come to the green flag.
On that start,
Montoya was ready, wasn't he?
He definitely was ready for the start. It's so difficult at times to start a race, especially like in Ricky Stenhouse's case, for the first time at a racetrack that has no grip even on the straightaway here. So you can tell that he was taking a little bit easy, but Montoya was certainly ready.
Stenhouse fighting with Jeff Gordon, 24 for third place. Dale Jr. 88, Matt Kenseth 20 right behind him now. And that 56 car, Mark Truex Jr. driving with the fractured bone in his right wrist and the brace on his hand.
Couldn't have come to a more difficult track with that type situation. And the reason that is because what we were talking about earlier, how much you work the steering wheel here. You go through the bumps, you're turning the car left, then you're turning it back right. Every driver will be going through that. And it's going to be a long night for all of these drivers, but especially Mark Truex Jr. Denny Hamlin, another that has an injury from that crash at Bristol last Saturday night.
But one thing I've seen over the years, I've seen drivers that are injured seem seems like they perform at a higher level right after they're injured. And I don't know if it's a adrenaline thing or whatever it is, but I expect to see Truex run well tonight.
A little tight there. 17 Stenhouse, 56 Truex, 48 Johnson. And 7th, 8th, and 9th.
You try to work that bottom and make it work, and you can do that. But as you come up off the corner and in the gas, you can see you got to have all of the racetrack. And when you're racing your car side by side, it really makes it difficult.
Joey Logano, 22, one of those drivers under enormous pressure to make this chase. Truex also in that group. A little bobble there on the 56. Here comes Clint Boyer to the inside of the 15.
Yeah, Boyer and his team are in need of a win to get a bonus point heading into. Know that they have a good racetrack next weekend at Richmond coming up for them. They're solid. They're in the chase, but they need a victory for momentum and for that bonus point.
What I love about this racetrack is if you got a fast race car, you can drive it to the front. You can see right here that you can run anywhere on the racetrack. You can just take that momentum that you can gain, and you can pass cars, and there's so many places to race. I see Kevin Harvick's already moved up inside the top, 17? He's actually in 16th now.
18 Kyle Busch passing Dale Jr. 88 for 5th place. Certainly Kyle one to keep an eye on tonight. And it's getting closer up front also. After Juan Pablo Montoya left in the opening laps, here comes Carl Edwards to challenge for the top spot.
Yeah, talking to Carl, he felt really good about his chances at a racetrack. He loves to race that.
Montoya, though, he's got something to prove here in the next few races.
Juan Pablo Montoya out of a ride at the end of this season. Announced here this weekend that Kyle Larson will be the pilot of that number 42 target car for next season. The young phenom from California, showing his skills in the NASCAR Nationwide Series and in sprint cars and in midgets and in about anything else he can get in and drive this season.
Yeah, we see somebody else coming up to join this group at the front that has something to prove, although he's proven a lot in his NASCAR career with 4 championships. But Jeff Gordon needs a solid run here. It's not a victory. Obviously, victory would be the ultimate for him, but try to get himself situated in this chase.
Gordon just outside the top 10, but not eligible for one of those wild card spots because he doesn't have a win yet this season. Montoya and Edwards, the top 2 early at Atlanta. Just underway with tonight's NASCAR Sprint Cup Series race at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Our telecast presented by Pennzoil. Juan Pablo Montoya holding off Carl Edwards and Jeff Gordon for now. Race fans, think you know something about speed? Buckle your seatbelt and play AT&T's Fastest Driver Challenge. Text FAST to 34763 and predict who'll have the fastest times in tonight's race. Brought to you by the nation's fastest 4G LTE network, AT&T. Rethink possible. Remember, competition caution coming up at lap 25 for these teams to get a look at the tires for the first time. Trends we're seeing in the early part of the race. Guys hunting around, seeking where they might find the best grip for their car's handling. And a lot more people being dedicated to that bottom line than maybe we were expecting.
Well, we see it in 3 and 4, but I think we'll see Montoya as we follow the leader right here down into turn 1. He's moved up and running the top of the racetrack, as we'll see Carl Edwards, I believe, also go around the top part of the track in 1 and 2. That's pretty common at this racetrack. Now, Kevin Harvick, on the other hand, is a man that told us he was going to run the bottom. I say he dominated last night, and that's the way that he likes to go around here. He sets his car up that way and tries not to deviate from that.
Started 30th. Up to 16th, trying to take 15th away from Ricky Stenhouse Jr.
Tighten this thing up for practice. No. Right recorder panel, Billy. Make sure it's not caved in. I'll look again here. I didn't see none of my eyes. Got a little mark just in front of where the bumper connects. I think it's just paint. I don't see any dents. Nothing loose.
Kevin must have ticked the wall.
Either that or maybe he got to get somebody else. Worried about a little body damage that maybe changed the handling of the car.
Well, for now, 30th to 15th for Harvick in the opening 17 laps. That's a pretty fast race car.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive. That's good race cars and drivers that he's passing getting to that point. Certainly will get a little more difficult as he tries to move further forward, but a good start to the night.
race B.
Yeah,
right there.
Yeah, he certainly did have some contact with that right rear corner. That's a critical part of the body of the race car because you rely so much on that part for side force.
Casey Mears in the 13 with the contact with Harvick.
And that did slow his progress down. He was passing a lot of cars till that happened right there. So the car's still good, but not quite as good. Look at Jeff Gordon. Slide job. How about that? Looked like one of the old sprint car moves, didn't it?
We saw a lot of that from him last week at Bristol, but about half the speed of what this is.
He's racing outdoors, so slide job.
Had someone questioning our use of the term of slide job, saying you can't slide a car on asphalt. You've driven these things before.
They're wrong. I can tell them. I don't know who I'm disputing there, but I've had a lot of times that I was sliding around on asphalt, so I promise you it happens.
Matt Kenseth on the move, 3 wide.
Now on the top side in both corners.
It didn't work in that top side down in 3 and 4, trying to get around Montoya, but it really wasn't faster for you.
I think it's an issue with his car. I'm not sure his car is like he needs it. I think he almost has to go up there.
And riding with someone to really keep an eye on tonight, Joey Logano in this 22. Team's been on a roll lately, and boy, he's looked good in these opening laps.
Yeah, I think he learned something last night. I was kind of watching his line earlier in the race, and he was right down below that yellow line, just like Harvick was last night, every single lap. And Logano followed him for quite a bit, so he evidently was paying attention.
So that's Harvick's car in the NASCAR Nationwide Series race last night. Top of the screen, the 33. He was doing that. Most everybody else wasn't.
Yeah, and it sure paid off for him. And another reason I thought that this 22 would run good coming in was what he did at California. And even though California's 2-mile tracks, we see Matt Kenseth get really loose right there. Logano was in a position to win that race in California, and it has a lot of similarities here. Matter of fact, it's the only racing surface, asphalt surface, that's older than this surface right here. It was done in 96. This was redone in 97, and a lot of similarities, and I think Logano will have a good, solid night and get himself situated even more so in that top 10.
Remember that race back in March? It was Joey Logano and Denny Hamlin, the whole last lap thing. Tony Stewart involved there that turned into name-calling and pushing and shoving after the race. And for Denny Hamlin, turned into him injuring his back in that very hard crash.
I'll tell you, it's heating up for the lead, though. You see 5 cars in the shot right there. Logano's going to be the one that's going to pounce first.
Start at 11, up to second. Waiting on the competition caution. Somewhere in or after the 25th lap. Remember, NASCAR usually likes to let a lot of the lead lap cars go through the start-finish line to lock in the scoring before they put the yellow out.
And this is what Carl Edwards couldn't do. He ran up to Montoya a couple of different times, but he couldn't make that bottom work. Logano's got the lead.
Logano's best finish here has only been 18th. So he's looking good tonight.
Just a couple of weeks ago at the big, fast Michigan International Speedway, Joey Logano drove to victory lane, vaulted himself back into contention for a place in the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup. Second win tonight would not only solidify him in the top 10 in points further, but pretty much guarantee him one of those wild card spots if something really goes wrong at Richmond next Saturday.
And a young man that came in with a lot of fanfare to this sport about how great he was going to be, and we're seeing all of that talk and coming to fruition now that he is a legitimate contender as the caution has come out now.
Just for a frame of reference, too, we looked at the last lap time for Joey Logano was 32:21. That was the fastest on the racetrack. The fastest lap of the race was 29:35 by Montoya, so you can see just how much tires need here.
So first yellow flag, again called by NASCAR to allow teams to get a look at these tires, this new tire and how it's done its first 25 laps under full speed racing competition, plus with the changed track conditions from yesterday when these cars were last on the speedway.
Yeah, I talked to some crew chiefs, and they feel good about the tire, but they always kind of hold their breath here at Atlanta because this is a tough racetrack on those tires. And they're lucky or feel good that they've got this 25 lap caution flag to kind of take a look at things.
And while at a lot of other tracks like Michigan and so on, the caution and the whole field coming to pit road brings about, okay, what are we going to do, this, that, or the other thing? That's not even a question tonight.
Now, it makes it really easy for the crew chief because he's just going to say, okay, 4 tires, and really leaves it up to the pit crews to execute.
Yeah, but anybody that's up towards the front is pitting towards the turn 4 side. They'll have to be careful because the whole field's going to pit here. And you have to be careful. We see a lot of contact on pit road here normally.
First round of stops. Dave?
Jeff Gordon will pit from third. You'll see his car in the upper left there. A little bit too tight. They'll pull a spring rubber from the left rear. Up 1.5 rounds on the track bar. Sunoco fuel. Jamie?
Carl Edwards been running the high line in the opening laps here, saying he's a little bit tight, wants a track bar adjustment, air pressure, 4 tires, and they'll fill him up with Sunoco fuel. Mike?
Juan Pablo Montoya saying toward the end of the run, he's losing the rear. They'll remove some air from the right rear tire. He's away after 4 tire change, Dave.
Joey Logano has been rock solid, but needs a little rear grip, so they're making an air pressure adjustment, and that's all on the 22. Montoya.
Yeah, Logano's track position is what's going to get adjusted most on that round of stops, Vince.
5 spots.
And Brad Keselowski up into the top 10. So Montoya regains the lead. Josh Wise, the free pass under the caution. Back for the restart to Atlanta. Sunset at 8:03 local time in just a little bit. As the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series gets ready to go back onto the green here at Atlanta. Telecast tonight presented by Pennzoil. Juan Pablo Montoya back in the lead after the first round of pit stops. Joey Logano first to 6th for the restart. And we've got 41 of the 43 starters on the lead lap as we get ready to go. Last night's nationwide race, Sky on the first position outside row had a lot of trouble getting going. That's Jeff Gordon right now.
Yeah, it's just worst position you could be in, spinning the tires here. The good thing is they have new tires on these cars on every pit stop. They're not limited.
He had trouble. And there's contact back in the pack. Smoke. Casey Kane. Damage on the 5 car.
Probably get down on the bottom. NASCAR screaming.
Well, might have gotten the radiator on that 5.
Yeah, it's got big problems. It's just a terrible break for Casey. Just 2 things you can always count on. Contact on pit road at this place and on the restarts. You just can't get going.
It's hard to tell on TV. It looks like it's just tire rubs and stuff.
I think it's
Coming at us.
might be an oil cooler.
We need 4 tires here. Get it cleared. Get the fenders cleared off of the
getting started. You see Casey Kane, I think it was part of an accordion effect. See, everybody was kind of stacking up behind. Yeah, that right there instantly, as soon as he hit the back of that 48.
Wow, Jeff Burton and Mark Martin, 31 and 14, picking up some damage there too.
I think some even further back than that. Kenseth gets in the back of Jeff, and everybody has to check up.
That's 3 Hendrick cars making contact, right? Jimmy Johnson into the back of Dale Jr. and Casey Kane into the back of Jimmy Johnson because the 4th Hendrick car on the outside of the front row didn't get going.
It's just so hard. We talked about this last night in the night, that there's just no grip on that front straightaway, and the worst position is the driver that's in that 2nd spot, trying to anticipate and get these cars up to speed, and especially with these Cup cars that have so much more horsepower. Dave, how about this 5? What kind of damage they have?
They're saying radiator to oil cooler, DJ. They are going back to the garage. You see the crew pushing the car right now. Their pit stall actually wasn't that far from the garage, so it was an easy, quick decision.
Well, Casey Kane talked about people on the bubble. Kane came into this night 8th in the championship and only 20 points ahead of that 11th place cut line. The good news for Casey, he does have a couple of wins, but the bad news is that pressure, that bubble of pressure, builds even more when you have an early problem on a night like this.
Yeah, and it's going to affect the rest of these bubble guys too, because he falls out of the top 10.
Yeah.
It's really going to shuffle things up because he has the 2 wins.
Mike?
And you can see Jimmy Johnson, the 48 team, going to work on that car. A little bit of damage on the nose, a little bit of damage on the rear, the right rear. They're trying to fix that right now. A lot of effort, though, being placed on the nose of that race car. The splitter, looking at the grill as well underneath the chassis. As far as the right rear goes, it looks like just cosmetic damage, but the majority of the damage on the 48 certainly on the front.
And you saw Jeff Burton's car there as well, getting a lot of attention paid to the back end of the 31, the right front corner also.
See, it just really, it's bad when it's only 10% of the race really has got completed, and all of these cars are damaged. You know, Jimmy's night has been affected. You see the 31 car tore up, even Jeff's car, he got tore up a little bit too.
Yeah, I was not doing great, but I was doing okay till the damn 20 hit me. Man, there's just no grip on those restarts. Wow. Yeah, it's a tough spot there, but you did a good job. Saw 20 all up on you. There. The outside, same thing after the start, just no grip out there.
Yes. I'm speaking from, I haven't raced here in 5 years and there wasn't any grip then, so I know it hasn't gotten better. They haven't done anything.
Shoving you here. Inside, 3 wide.
Rev up.
But you just wondered, and you take someone like Matt Kenseth, such a hurry at this stage of the race, but we see it time and time again here. And I tell you I think who this is going to affect more. Obviously, we talked about Casey Kane's situation, others that got damaged. You don't want anybody to. It's going to affect your team. But this 48 team, things just haven't gone well for them. I know they're still going to be the favorite leading into the chase, but going in there the way things have been going, that has to be in their head a little bit.
No momentum for Jimmy Johnson right now. You caught a glimpse of Mark Martin in Tony Stewart's 14. Coming down the pit lane, the nose of that car has been damaged also. Vince?
Yeah, the main issue is the left front. That's the issue. That's the area that's going to take the most attention right now. Steve Addington, the crew chief, just told the team, we got to get that front end fixed, particularly that left front. He said, even if we have to go down a lap here, let's make sure we get that taken care of. This team in the Owners' Championship and the Owners' Chase is currently the first wild card. So even though Tony Stewart's out of the car and Mark Martin is in, these guys still have a lot to race for here in these final 12 races. This isn't the way they wanted this one to get started.
And these new cars, something that I've been seeing over the course of the year, and this is a perfect example, the nose, then the strong part of the nose, doesn't line up real well with the rear bumper, and whenever these things happen, it creates a lot more damage than what we saw in the older car.
Hey, right, the older car did line up better. When they had contact like this, it was pretty well just, straight in the front. But now they go under each other. You see, you get into the radiator even. We didn't see that as much. A lot of damage with these cars, though.
You heard Dave's report that the oil cooler and the radiator were knocked out of the Casey Kane car, so there has been quite a bit of cleanup ongoing on the racetrack and on the pit road from when Kane drove that car back around. And so we'll take a break while they continue the cleanup and continue the repairs on some of these cars. Well, we just talked about it. The guy in first in the outside lane had trouble getting going last night on the restarts, and on the first restart tonight, Jeff Gordon had trouble getting going, and this resulted. Sunset on the Sunday night of Labor Day weekend, and the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series under caution, competition caution at lap 25, an opening round of pit stops, and then the restart from that caution went pretty ugly as Jeff Gordon had trouble getting going on the outside row. Matt Kenseth was the one behind Gordon trying to get him going.
Jeff was already spinning the tires there whenever he got a little nudge from Matt.
And this is what Matt has had to say about it under this yellow.
He was just giving me the high sign out the window, so I was just trying to help. I was totally squared up. We were going straight, so I was like, just give him a nudge, get our lane moving. And as soon as I touched him, it's like he lifted once it spun the tires real bad, and then tried to get off him as quick as I could. Guess I won't do that anymore.
I think it's just like you say, Dale. The bumpers don't line up very well. The second he made contact with Jeff, he took a right.
Now, on the set of pit stops before, we didn't get a chance to show you this before the restart because things went chaotic on the restart, but you'll see some damage on the right front of Ryan Newman's car. You were talking about contact on pit road, and it happened.
Never seems to fail here. Just cars coming out, you can see they're 4 wide right there.
And Newman has been on and off the pit road a few times under this yellow Vince.
The good news with this contact is that even though there was some right front damage, they were able to pound it out at the fender to get it off the tire. Talked to the car chief just a moment ago. He said mostly cosmetic. They feel like they're going to be okay with what they've got. But they did have to come in, change those 4 tires because Ryan ran over some debris also. But as far as the